Welcome to the Inside Story on Franchising, with valuable insights on how to create multiple streams of income through franchising and building businesses. Host Ricardo Matos has spent more than 25 years building businesses in multiple industries and helping other business owners succeed. His expertise and entrepreneurial know-how will educate and inspire you. On the show, Ricardo brings together industry experts and insiders who share solutions and strategies, along with a passion for helping entrepreneurs make the best decision when it comes to buying a franchise or any business opportunity, and much more.
Welcome to the Inside Story of Franchise. Today we have Natalie Kroth, who is a business development manager and unemployment at the Matos company. Facilitates the unemployment and management in partnership between TPA and employers to relieve an administrative and financial burden on employment for business and the companies. Welcome to the Inside Story of Franchise, Natalie. How are you today?
I'm great, Ricardo. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I am glad having you in our podcast today. I know you and I were going back and forward on trying to find the right time, the right day when to record our conversation and our meeting. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you are all about and what are you doing for the business community?
So I work for the Matrix companies. We are a third-party administrator located in Cincinnati. And we just celebrated our 20th anniversary. Our CEO, Brent Messmer, came from the fraud department here and started as an investigative services company 20 years ago. And from there, it's expanded into workers' comp and now into 8 different service lines nationally. Within those service lines, we have a whole safety division. We have return to work services, leave of absence services, workers' comp, and unemployment management, which is my area of expertise.
Very nice. And can you elaborate more in depth on that area of expertise in your employer services?
Yes, so we do unemployment management, which is essentially unemployment cost control, and we operate in all 50 states. And what a lot of people don't know is that their unemployment cost can be controllable. You can do this through 2 ways, through the whole unemployment tax piece, which I'm sure, all employers listening are very familiar with that. And especially with the rise of the tax rate this past year due to coronavirus. And another way to control your unemployment cost is to aggressively manage the claims. And that's what we do here at the Matrix companies. Our account executives fight tooth and nail to manage all the unemployment claims to keep that unemployment cost low.
Interesting. Can you talk a little bit more about the cost of hiring employees and unemployment cost control? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I know that your team is very adamant on making sure that everybody's very aware of all that.
The cost of hiring new employees, especially businesses that, let's say, have high turnover, such as, some franchises do with lower paid employees and higher turnover. That's when the unemployment cost control, really comes in and, makes your money work for you, because it depends on the state, but each time you hire an employee, you have to pay into the unemployment fund for them for X amount of months, so that if something were to happen, they were terminated, then they would be able to pay. So think of it almost as like a kitty, a reserve fund you have to pay into your employees. So for example, for Ohio, it's 90 days you pay into this unemployment fund. Well, if you're having that high turnover, you're keep having to pay and pay and pay and invest into these employees who essentially just leave you. So that's where it can get super costly for employers, for franchisees.
No, and I get that. I know that a lot of times employees don't realize that if they're getting paid $10 an hour, that employee is costing the employer easily $20 to $30 an hour, depending upon the scale bracket they may be at. And it was like into my early 20s that I didn't realize that we were costing the company more than they were paying us, right? We said to ourselves, man, I wish they pay us more. But then again, what kind of value is the employee giving to the employer? Because it's costing employers a huge amount of money on those employees having them, from benefits, from their salary pay, from their hourly wages. It's costing the employer always 3 or 4 times more money what they're getting paid or what they're getting in return for those employees. And a lot of times, employees don't realize uh, the burden that we are to an employer, even though we're a lot of time people are like, give me more, give me more, give me guarantee, give me reassurance, give me awareness. But on the back end, a lot of the employers are in the same hassle of having people employees that when we have these employees, but we're paying them. Who can we use to can help us understand better, how to mitigate or how to alleviate some of the costs and the burden. And this is where you guys come in, right? You guys the unemployment cost control. You guys are the return to work services for people. You guys create a workforce services to other individuals or to other organizations that you can help streamline those methodologies. What are the challenges and what types of challenges have you seen and how they are handled this day by day in your business?
Yeah, and everything you said, you're exactly right, Ricardo. Challenges today, especially with franchises. I mean, we have a lot of franchisee clients, whether it be restaurants or janitorial service. It is that high turnover, and good help can be hard to find. So that's really where the difficulty lies, and especially in today's age with coronavirus this whole past year, and employees being granted unemployment plus the extra funds for that are added on within being unemployed. It's hard to get employees back. It's hard to you know have them get off that unemployment, and it's just creating this open cycle between employers in the state and employees that's really been digging a ditch. And so that's one of the challenges that we've seen, especially this past year, is getting employees back to work.
So that brings up a very good question for me. I know that you guys have very unique kind of unemployment cost control process. Can you elaborate more about the metrics advantages, like the quality, the time and day appears, and some of these things like the meaningful claim activity reports that you guys create? Can you elaborate more on the validation of the audit and the changes to the impact for tax rates and so on? Can you elaborate a little bit more on the tax analysis in some of those areas?
Right. So, of course, and our account executives managing these claims, they're hound dogs for information. So they're not just copying, pasting. They're not just, getting a file feed from the payroll company. They are managing each claim aggressively and building the case so that the employer wins, because the state is always going to favor the employee over the employer when it comes to allowing these unemployment claims. And we are seeing, exorbitant amounts still from COVID, but now with fraud is really off the charts right now.
Interesting. Can you
And
can you elaborate more on the fraud aspect? I mean, that's something that very curious to me. Can you elaborate a little bit on giving us example of on a claim of a possible fraud, like for employer for employers?
yeah, so fraud is off the charts right now. We're seeing it happen across the board, all 50 states. It's skyrocketing. Even companies are getting unemployment claims for their CEOs, their executives. So if you're not catching these, that's being paid out through your unemployment fraud, or excuse me, your unemployment fund. Um, so for us here at Matrix, we have our own proprietary software. We're flagged when a fraud claim comes in, it audits, and we are able to process it as such. Also, it's always safe to, if you receive the unemployment claim as an individual, to file it with your state as a fraudulent claim.
Interesting. You said that because that brings me a question. So, what are the most important things that business can do to help protect themselves from those possible frauds? I mean, that's where you guys come in, right? Can you elaborate more on that? I mean, what is it that you guys are protecting them from? Making sure everything done correctly or in order or methods or
Absolutely. So, with our software, we're able to document everything and go back and see the whole life cycle of the claim and, especially build it from there, able to handle hearings and determinations and copies of different claims. So, one mismanaged claim can be upwards of $13,000. So you add that up, say you have multiple franchises and 10 claims are being mismanaged. That's costing you $140,000 in payouts through your unemployment fund, which is going to be jacking up your unemployment tax rate. And you want to keep that low by managing those claims, like I said, and also getting with your account executive or going over the tax piece for unemployment. So there's different groups and it depends on each state, things like voluntary contribution, group rating that can lower your tax rate. So this is great for franchises. If you have multiple locations, you can group those all together to really bring down your tax rate notice, or your tax rate. No, the notice is what you get each year.
Natalie, you're so knowledgeable, you're so assertive in everything that you're actually stating. Where can our audience go and learn more about you and connect with you and how to find you?
Absolutely. You can go ahead and connect with me on multiple platforms, LinkedIn, Natalie Kroth, my email, nkroth@ascentrmg.com. I'm happy to give my cell phone out too as well. And our website is matrixtpa.com.
Beautiful. I will definitely share all that information once this podcast goes live. We'll definitely, I have really enjoyed interviewing you and getting to know you, who you are and what you are all about. And I look forward for a lot of business great success. And again, thank you for being part of the inside story of the franchise podcast. And I look forward to your great success of your business and expanding and you helping all those great individuals out there who need your expertise.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
You've been listening to the Inside Story on Franchising with your host, Ricardo Matos. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. That way, you'll never miss a new episode and you can help spread the word to more entrepreneurs like yourself. We really appreciate that effort, and we'll catch you next time.